So I'm not the biggest fan of these box sets GW just released, but I want to make a video. So let's take a look at GW's Battleforce box for the year 2025 and see which one of these are hits, which one of these are misses, and see what kind of lore we can create for each one of these boxes behind it. So let's take a look. First off, we're going to be looking at the Blissbound Warband. This is basically the Fulgrim Battleforce box set, because it comes with a total of 13 models, one of them being the Primarch Fulgrim himself, a 6-man squad of Flawless Blades, and another 6-man squad of Noise Marines. So altogether, it's a pretty small box with only a small handful of Marines with literally only 3 units in this entire box. So it's a really small scale box, but given the fact that the Primarch Fulgrim himself is involved in this, I can kind of make up for it and kind of forgive the lack of different models and different variety. I also think it's really cool that they're using the Noise Marines and the Flawless Blades because both of these models are actually considered hyper elite or at the very least like veteran status units within the Emperor's Children army. And I think that's really fitting because if Fulgrim is going to be leading any units into battle, it should be the hyper elite units of the Emperor's Children. So this box set is honestly pretty fitting, although I really wish it did come with, some extra stuff. Maybe some baseline troops, some what are they called? What are the basic Emperor's Children infantry called? Just a single squad of them could have probably like really brought this box together in my opinion. Or even just like another type of leader unit would have kind of just made this a bit better in my opinion. Maybe even like a Lord of Excess would have been really fun. But regardless, I think this is a really fun box set, and the Primarch Fulgrim is a really cool model in general, so I'm really happy to see it. But I think I could do some really fun kit bashing to turn him into some sort of, like really powerful, like demon prince. But in terms of the lore for this box set, I would really just have this be probably not Fulgrim because, in my opinion, I want to avoid using named characters in homebrew lore. So for me, this wouldn't be Fulgrim himself. This would probably either be a demon prince mimicking Fulgrim's, appearance, polymorph, or like a shape changer. Someone who's like imitating Fulgrim's appearance and using his likeness to manipulate the Emperor's Children Legion. Like maybe this is like, one of Slaanesha's like demons of excess, a demon of pleasure. And what they are doing is they are basically like feeding the sensations of the Legion. So like maybe this like demon prince who's appearing as Fulgrim is actually leading this host of flawless blades and noise marines on this like really high tier, really important mission. But what that mission is, I don't know. Feel free to let me know what you guys think it would be in the comment section below. And also feel free to let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this box set. For the next Battleforce box set of 2025, we have the Chthonian Prospect. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to my Leagues of Votann lore. I don't have any of their codexes, and if I'm being completely honest, I've never really invested into reading any of their lore. That being said, though, I do have a really good friend and patron member, Gerald the Dwarven Host, who's actually really knowledgeable about the Votann. He has actually let me know a couple things about their lore, and from what he's told me, I am really invested in what they've got going on. I think they're really fun. But from what I do understand about their lore, this is actually basically a mining operation because how the Votann go to war, not the Votann, they're actually called the kin because every single one of them are clones. Basically, how they go to war isn't actually war, it's specifically just to like mine and harvest resources. For them, war isn't so much about conquest, but about harvesting materials and resource extraction. So let's see if the units inside this box set actually really fit that theme and what we can make from that. Leading this unit is a Brocknir Iron Master with an Iron Kin assistant. So what these people are basically engineers who are in charge of managing the machine spirits and the AI that the Votann have access to, because the Votann as an army still have access to the Men of Iron. They just have a different name called Iron Kin. So that is what an Iron Kin assistant is. It's basically a robot slash droid. So you can kind of consider them from that perspective. It also comes with 3 ECOGs, which are basically those little floating drones that surround them. Now, I don't know how good these are in game, but from what I've been told by other members of the community, the Leagues of Votann are not exactly the strongest army, which is, in my opinion, pretty unfortunate. Because you have units like the Brocknir Thunderkin and the Chthonian Earthshakers that are some really powerful, ranged units. Like, these guys are cool because you got, the Chthonian Mortars, and you also got those heavy units in the back. So these are just some really fun, really heavy-duty units that are meant to, just break through the enemy, shatter the ground, and, get in what they need. Though I think the one unit I like most about this box set is honestly the Chthonian Berserkers. Because I've honestly always loved the concept of Chthonians because, that brings me back to Horus and the Horus Heresy because he's from the planet of Chthоnia. But it's also the fact like these Berserkers, they just remind me of Fire Slayers from Age of Sigmar, but just like a little bit cooler because they kind of give me like a Warframe vibe. If you guys have ever played that game, that's kind of what I get from these guys. And then of course you have the transport to transport your soldiers into the front lines. In the lore, this is something that you would use to get your miners in. get the resources onto the vehicle, and then get them out. It's basically like just resource extraction. So what I would have the lore for these guys be is so for me, what I would do for the homebrew lore of these guys, and again, please forgive me because I'm very limited in my Leagues of O10 knowledge, but I would have the Iron Master be leading this expedition on this really high-end, really important mission. So what I would have is because of the heavy duty, the Earth Shakers in the background, Thunderkin as well, I would have this be this really important mission. Like maybe this Iron Master is, desperate to find some resources to repair the Leagues of Votan. And like maybe the Votan core for this league, like maybe the Votan core of this league is actually dying out. And basically what happens is every single time a Chthonian prospect is sent out, it's basically to recover like this one piece of Dark Age technology to bring it back. Like these guys are basically like Ship of Theseusing their the Votan core. That's what I would have the lore for this Battleforce box be. Basically, a Ship of Theseus Votan core. What about you guys? What would you guys do with this box? What would you guys' thoughts be? And what are you guys' thoughts on my little brief discussion on a Ship of Theseus Votan core? But overall, that would be kind of my breakdown of the homebrew lores and stories for each one of these box sets. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section below, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. But I honestly really want to talk about these Battleforce boxes, break them down, and the lore potential behind them. If you guys like what I do, again, make sure that like and subscribe. Make sure YouTube's Machine Spirit hears our prayers and sees our growing community. And with all that out of the way, I've got nothing else to say. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Bye.